It was a crisp January morning in sunny Clearwater, Florida, when 3-year-old Eli Patterson started his day like any other. Full of energy, with wide eyes and an endless imagination, he had a way of lighting up any room he entered. His mother, Jenna Patterson, often called him her little spark. That morning, Jenna was busy tidying the kitchen, moving between the laundry and preparing breakfast. Her partner at the time, David, was quietly folding clothes in the living room. No one noticed when Eli, driven by curiosity and a tiny sense of adventure, quietly slipped out the front door. And here's where things took a terrifying turn. Because Eli wasn't just outside. He was heading straight for a spot Jenna had always considered dangerous: the large retention pond at their apartment complex, Harborview Residences. The pond wasn't fenced, and it wasn't supposed to be a permanent body of water. Officially, it was a drainage area meant to catch storm runoff and then dry out. But after recent rains, it was full and deep, and little Eli didn't understand the danger. He reached the edge and peered into the water, the sunlight glinting off its surface, making it look almost magical. One misstep, one moment of curiosity, and Eli lost his footing. Inside, Jenna was finishing up laundry when she heard David calling out. Panic started to rise in her chest as she rushed toward the front door, only to find it slightly ajar. Her heart sank instantly. Moments later, they were at the hospital. Jenna recalls a doctor approaching her, shaking his head, and softly saying, "We did everything we could, but he didn't make it." Her world shattered in a heartbeat, her little spark gone before she could even process the danger. Devastated and searching for answers, Jenna later realized that the only water Eli could have reached in the community was that very pond. The grief, the questions, the guilt, it was overwhelming. Determined to make a change, Jenna sought legal help. She worked with a law firm that explained something shocking. The pond where Eli drowned wasn't meant to hold water permanently. It was supposed to be dry, a simple man-made depression for rain runoff. But poor maintenance had turned it into a hidden hazard. The apartment management, along with their parent company, eventually agreed to a settlement for $15 million. But for Jenna, no amount of money could ever replace her son. What mattered more was ensuring that no other child would face the same fate. In the months that followed, Harborview Residences installed safety barriers around the pond, a direct result of Jenna's fight. She began speaking out, sharing her story, and warning parents and communities about the hidden dangers that can lurk even in places we think are safe. Eli's story is heartbreaking, but it also carries an important lesson. Even small hazards, if left unchecked, can have unimaginable consequences. And sometimes it takes tragedy to spark change. If this story touched you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to support more stories that shine a light on safety, courage, and resilience. After the unimaginable loss of her son, Jenna Patterson felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. Every corner of her apartment, every little sound, reminded her of Eli. She replayed the morning in her mind over and over, searching for a moment she could have done something differently. But the truth was clear. This wasn't her fault. It was the pond, the lack of safety, the negligence that had turned a simple curiosity into a deadly trap. Determined to prevent another tragedy, Jenna reached out to a law firm specializing in cases like hers. They explained that retention ponds are supposed to be carefully managed, and when full, properly fenced or marked to prevent accidents. But in Eli's case, nothing had been done. As the investigation unfolded, shocking details came to light. The pond was a dry detention area designed only to temporarily hold stormwater. It was never meant to stay full like it had that day. Yet the management company, Clearwater Property Group, had neglected their duty to maintain it safely. Jenna remembered the first time she saw the pond after Eli's death. It looked so ordinary, so harmless, and yet it had claimed her child's life. Her grief quickly turned into a burning determination. She needed to make sure this could never happen again. The legal battle was long and exhausting. Jenna spent hours poring over documents, talking to lawyers, and giving testimony. Every detail of Eli's final moments was examined, replayed, and questioned in court. And every time, her heart broke all over again. Despite the pain, there were moments of hope. The law firm announced that a settlement had been reached, $15 million, with the apartment management agreeing to implement safety measures around the pond. But for Jenna, the victory wasn't the money. It was the knowledge that the pond would finally be secured. Even after the settlement, Jenna's fight didn't stop. She began speaking at local community meetings, warning parents about hidden dangers in residential areas. She shared Eli's story with everyone who would listen, hoping her words could save another child. Her message was simple but powerful. A moment of curiosity shouldn't cost a life. Safety matters. Fences, warning signs, vigilance. It can make the difference between life and death. Neighbors and other parents in the community started paying attention. The pond that had once seemed harmless became a symbol of awareness and responsibility. Children now played safely, and barriers stood as a silent tribute to Eli's memory. But the emotional journey was far from over. Every anniversary, every small milestone, Jenna felt the weight of what had been lost. She missed Eli in ways words could never capture. His laughter, his tiny hands, his endless questions. Yet in her advocacy, she found a sense of purpose. Sharing her story, raising awareness, and pushing for stricter safety standards gave her a way to turn her grief into something meaningful. She hoped that no other parent would have to experience the heartbreak she endured. Eli's story reminds us of something crucial. Tragedy can strike when we least expect it, but courage and action can turn pain into protection for others. A small decision, like putting up a fence or checking a dangerous area, can save lives. And through it all, Jenna continues to honor her son's memory. By speaking out, by fighting for safety, and by reminding the world that children's lives are priceless, she ensures that Eli's spark still shines, guiding others to prevent another heartbreak. Even after the legal battle ended, Jenna Patterson's journey was far from over. The grief never truly left her, and some days felt heavier than others. Every toy Eli had, every photo of his bright smile, reminded her of what she had lost. But as she walked around the now-secured pond at Harborview Residence, Jenna noticed something she hadn't expected. Hope? The fences stood tall, warning signs were posted, and children played safely at a distance. Her heart ached, yes, but it also swelled with a quiet pride. Jenna began speaking openly at community gatherings, schools, and parenting groups. Her story wasn't just about sorrow. It was a call to action. She encouraged parents to check their surroundings, advocate for safety measures, and never underestimate small hazards. She met other families who had narrowly avoided accidents because they'd seen what happened to Eli. Mothers and fathers thanked her for sharing, saying her courage had opened their eyes to dangers they never considered. In those moments, Jenna felt a flicker of comfort, a sense that Eli's life, though tragically short, was making a difference. But not all moments were easy. Anniversaries were the hardest. On those days, Jenna would sit in Eli's room, surrounded by his toys, listening to the faint echo of laughter that only memory could produce. She cried, she whispered his name, and she let herself grieve fully. Through it all, Jenna discovered something profound. Grief doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean letting tragedy define your life. Instead, it can be transformed into action, awareness, and protection for others. Months turned into years, and Jenna continued to fight for child safety in her community. Her efforts inspired the apartment complex and other residential areas to conduct safety audits, install barriers where needed, and raise awareness about hidden dangers like retention ponds. Eli's story became a quiet but powerful legacy. The little boy who loved to explore, who found wonder in the world around him, continued to inspire change long after he was gone. Parents everywhere began asking questions they hadn't before, checking for risks, and ensuring their children could play safely. And while Jenna's heart still carried a deep, unhealable ache, she found a way to live with hope. Through advocacy, awareness, and the memory of her little spark, she created a world where fewer families would face the heartbreak she endured. Eli's story reminds us all of an important truth. Tragedy can strike in the blink of an eye, but courage, vigilance, and action can save lives. One small safety measure, one voice speaking out, can prevent a lifetime of heartbreak. So when you see something that seems harmless, take a closer look. Ask questions, raise awareness, and protect the ones you love. Because sometimes the smallest actions make the biggest difference, and a life, even a little one, can leave a legacy that changes the world. This wraps up the full story with suspense, emotion, and a lasting lesson. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.